Hello and welcome to the Welsh Esports League, brought to you by Apprenticeships Wales. I'm Jay Robbie, your play-by-play today, and I'm joined by Tokisaki to my right. Welcome in, Toki. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great today. Wait, oh my god, I forgot to mute the actual EsportsWales stream, so I'm hearing you twice. But I'm doing fantastically today. This is a great start to this wonderful stream. But of course, we got a brand new tournament. We have something that looks a lot like the LEC winter split that we got going in here. Because we've got 3 weeks of best of one matches and loads of different elos, J-Real.
A lot of different elos. The rainbow of colours has come out today. We've got some plats, masters, golds, you name it, we probably got it. I think the only one I haven't seen is Iron, so shout out to them, man, that are in Iron. The most elusive elo to be in, by the way. It's actually harder to be in Iron 4 than it is to be in Challenger. Shout out. So anyone that's made it there, respect to them.
I remember, I mean, wasn't it like a few Challenger streamers or something who said, like, there is no way, like, climbing out of Iron is actually impossible. Like, Bronze and Silver, like, people, they're getting a bit smarter. Like, hey, shout out to all the Iron people, don't get me wrong, but like it's easy to get out there, but like Iron apparently is terrible. But luckily, well, not luckily, maybe luckily, we don't have Iron players at the moment here, unless some of the unranked people are Iron. Who knows? But it's going to be exciting matches either way, because the one thing with elo differences is like you kind of get like a flex game, right? Like a ranked flex where it's sometimes you have like the Grandmaster in top lane, and then you have the silver bot lane going up against the gold bot lane. We'll see if anyone can pull out some crazy stuff to maybe even shut down one of the high elo players.
Now, as you said, 3 weeks worth of games, 2 games a week. That's 6 games in total. Everyone will play everyone in the group, and therefore they will be getting points based on that one. Highest points wins the league. That is how it's going to be. So, with that being said, this is week number 1. We're going to have 2 games on the stream today. Kicking it off, we're going to have Robins versus the Pit Ponies. Toki, as you said, we've got a lot of elo difference. I want to quickly get your scope on how teams should play this, right? Should you play for your best player, your worst player? How do you kind of scope up this one?
It's a difficult one, because usually when you have like one player who is a very high elo compared to all the other players, the enemy team is also going to think, all right, that is going to be the one to shut down, right? It's like you have 2 choices. Do you shut down the enemy top player, or do you decide, okay, we're going to play around our strongest player? So I think the biggest thing that they should be doing is, yes, I think you should as a team play around whatever is comfortable for you, which likely will be playing around the hyper carry, which I imagine is going to be one of those high elo players, right? Get them that comfort and build a team comp around their champion to make sure that they are going to be fine in the team fight.
Now, the question that I think everyone wants to know in any elo ever is, what is the role that we should play around, right? Because obviously the high elo players are going to be in different roles, but some people, if you look at some of the YouTube videos, say that certain elos mean that different roles are harder. If you were having your team right now, Toki, where would you want your best player to be playing? Which position are we talking about?
When we're talking about like high elo games, bot lane is obviously the meta right now, right? People love playing around the bot lane. We see the Civs and the Zerys coming back with the, the Enchanter supports to make sure that they are going to be able to run the team fights later on. But when we get to like more elo differences, as you said, things change a little bit. We have obviously the mid jungle, which is a classic connection that always works out if you have like this hyper carry in the mid lane, because the mid lane has, the potential to go towards the top lane, to go towards the bot lane quite easily and make sure that, you can get your team ahead that way. But, there is also a possibility you can just go for, let's say, a Gwen top, like a Tryndamere top, or even anything along those lines, and just play around that split push, get those early turrets to get your team ahead as well, because it gets so much money once you get to the tier 2s. So, again, I think what's just most important is that wherever, their best player is situated, play around them, make sure they are going to be far ahead. And, high elo players tend to know quite well how to actually close out games.
Yeah, you're talking about some dirty tactics there. Tryndamere top.
Yeah.
Hopefully less of that. Hopefully less of that. No one likes Tryndamere really. Like, do we like casting Tryndamere? Do we like seeing Tryndamere? No. It can be kind of fun every now and again, but at the same time, there's a whole host of new picks that have come onto the Rift in Season 13. Cassante really leading the charge of that one, but also a big switch up in the bot lane as well. Are you expecting any sort of Ashe, any sort of ADCs to come out today, maybe?
I would love to see it. I think Ashe is incredibly strong at the moment, because obviously we have these massive the champions who are able to abuse the fact of the Hail of Blades being just so strong right now. But not only that, her ultimate cooldown later in the game is just 30 seconds. Like, that is basically nothing. It's a free engage tool, or just a catch off guard tool, which is, especially when you come to the lower elos where vision is, a bit more difficult to set up, it is going to be a very good pick, I think, for players to pick. But I feel like those are the kind of supports, like playing AD carry supports is not really something that happens in the lower kind of elos, because the only problem with it is if you play against something like a Nautilus or like a Thresh, and you can just get caught off guard and you may not be able to play that lane. So I'll be very interested to see if they're going to actually go full meta here, or sink maybe a bit more into that comfort, because what I'd like to see from teams who have very elo split differences or maybe haven't played together for a long time is like, just go for comfort, go what you are good at. That is, a good recipe to get you early games and early wins.
Yeah, definitely could be in terms of their own lane opponents, but maybe we also go to some of the old tried and tested. Maybe we get some wombo combo teams coming out, a little bit of Malphite, Yasuo, old school days.
Oh.
Maybe we get a bit of Misfortune. You know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, that is also one thing I'm really interested to look at. Are people going to be playing some really interesting macro? Is it going to really be about that team fighting aspect and basically just clashing heads? Or are we going to get to see some split pushing, some 1-3-1s? Who will know? But we are going to go into the champ select. We're already halfway through, so let's run through this one very quickly. So Kalista, Anivia, and Nautilus first banned away from the blue side, which I do believe is the Robins. And then on the other side, it was the Jax, Irelia, and Caitlyn banned away. First pick was Cho'Gath. They responded with the Nasus, Lulu, Xin Zhao, Nico to follow up, and then Vayne third pick. And now on to second round of bans.
Yeah, very interesting to see. You don't expect top laners to be first picked unless it's like a top laner that is a pretty safe pick, right? But Cho'Gath, could still be sent over towards that mid lane. Nico could be going to the top lane. There is a lot of flex potential on the left side of the team. The right side, however, I mean, the Pit Ponies, straight up scaling. They have gone full on scaling mode. So I'm interested to see if they are going to, fill in more scaling and just completely play for the late game, or get in some early game picks now. Get like a mid laner who can get some priority so that he can work around his jungler. Get like an early game jungler, maybe like a Vi to lock people up, But Amumu being picked, that tells me, is a pretty decently strong early game jungler, but can also be invaded quite easily. They are going full on late game here.
Yeah, if they drop a Veigar in here, I feel like they've got the perfect trio of just late game scalers. New Annie on the Rift. That's a real interesting one. Not only is Annie simple, easy to play, really good wombo, but Annie has now been changed. 13.3 brought a whole host of apparently nerfs, but seemingly potentially buffs.
So, wow, yes, Annie is incredible. Did get hotfixed, if I remember correctly. She did get nerfed quite a bit, but that is a team and a half. Now, I am praying, because I love to play this, I'm praying that we're going to see a Nico AD carry. Is it going to be the case? I don't know, but when you look at the side of the Robins, they do lack AD damage, right? Like, unless the Xin Zhao gets very far ahead, they could be in trouble when it comes to the later parts of the game against, like, a Nasus with the Lulu shield. If he's going to be full on that magic resist, there is no real way to kill him. Same with the Vladimir, so incredibly tanky when you get to the later parts of the game, has so much healing as well. So I think Nico AD carry. I don't know if it is, but that might be the call here, Jreal.
It might be. They also locked in Vlad. That's why I'm looking so shocked if you guys didn't get to see the champion select at all. But they have literally played for 40 minutes, right? Like, we could be here for a bit of a while, right? Nasus, Vlad, Vayne. Surely nothing is happening in the early game. They're either going to get absolutely smoked in the early game and just lose, or we're going to be going all the way to 30, 40 minutes and their team is going to be unstoppable, as we now lose the stream for the moment. So I don't know what happened with production. Hopefully they're coming back at some point, as otherwise it'd be very difficult for us to cast this game. But we are back once again. But late game team fights, it is a good strategy in low elo. Do you think it's a good strategy to have all late game though? Maybe not a little bit more early game?
Yeah, that's where I was a little bit on the edge of this. That's why I was talking about get maybe the early game mid laner, right? Get like an early game jungler to really, at least push you through, because a Nasus and a Vayne, that is enough late game for any team. They scale to infinity. They will be fine if they get to play the game, right? But now that you've gone full scaling, you are, as you said, betting on the 40-minute mark. You cannot do anything in this early game. Like, straight up, you don't want to fight for dragons. You don't want to fight for health. Just let it happen. Let them take it. Just farm. Focus on getting every single bit of CS you can, using that jungle, defending your jungle, and making sure that every single part of the CS is going to be yours, all the XP as well. Because, yeah, if they fall behind, they're going to have to wait a long time before they even get a chance to come back into this game.
Yeah, like most teams, I feel like when you look at drafting, you can think about, okay, there's a lot of people that are just like 1 + 1 = 2. Some coaches will get their whole, like, the strings board. You know what I'm talking about? Everything links to everything, 400 IQ strats. I feel like these, man, were just like, what should we do for draft? You know what? I've got a great one for this one. They pulled out the meme card and they said, are you winning, son? we're scaling. That is exactly what they decided to do today. Hopefully it works out for them. The Pit Ponies obviously playing for the late game. We'll see if the Robins can take the early. The one thing I will say, the big caveat to this though, is if the Robins do fall behind at any point in this game, the Pit Ponies might pretty much just cash in a free win. Because if you get Nasus ahead, or if you get Vlad ahead, or if you get Vayne ahead, there is no coming back.
Yeah, and here's the thing about the Nasus pick, is kind of why I like it as well, is because you are against the Cho'Gath. That's basically a handshake, except the fact that Nasus scales to infinity. Cho'Gath, yes, becomes that incredible frontline, super tanky, and it's difficult to get through. But then there's a Vayne pick and a Vlad pick. Vayne is literally known for the fact to, just run through big champions. Cho'Gath is like the biggest champion in the game. Vayne will have no problems with that when it comes to the later game at all. And Cho'Gath is also not really a champion that's going to be able to deny Nasus very much in that early game. Obviously, unless they're going to send Jin Zhao towards the top lane and just completely gank him to smithereens. They can do that. But yeah, I feel like, honestly, the Robins, they just made it very difficult for themselves with this draft. They also drafted so much AP, so you can just stack MR on the side of the Pit Ponies and just be chilling for most of the game. So the win cons are there. They have to just look for early game plays. They have to fight as much as they can. Just look for skirmishes, just bait them in, get vision control on the enemy jungle, and just make sure that they do not get to play that early game at all. But yeah, I think the Pit Ponies, their plan is just so much easier. They are just going to relax back in their chairs. They're going to, put in a cushion behind the back and just going to chill and just pray that this game isn't ending before 20 minutes.
No, indeed. And we've been told by production, apparently there might be some proxies. Apparently Vladimir was actually Vel'Koz, which admittedly is not exactly the earliest of game champions either. So still kind of fitting this late game scaling with a better team fight in there. And also true damage, which is good against that Cho'Gath, as we previously mentioned. And we're not getting any other sort of proxies coming through yet, but I was sure that we'll update you with those before we get onto the Rift. But as you said, early game focus, Jin Zhao, one of the better junglers to do so. What lanes would you really want him to prioritize? Because obviously we've got 3 scaling lanes, 3 difficult ones to gank. Bot lane, really strong at the moment, but as you said, maybe a Nico ADC. Is that going to be enough to carry them through?
Yeah, it's difficult because Nico ADC, I mean, you have a Nasus on the opposing team. You just press W and Nico ADC is kind of very difficult to play. It's also difficult for Nico because she has very low range. So to get close to the likes of a Vel'Koz or an Amumu already puts you in a kind of troublesome situation. So very difficult game for the Nico AD carry. I think what they should be doing here is look towards that mid lane. Vel'Koz, not a good champion to get away from ganks. Once you got that flash or maybe even a barrier, if he decides to go for it forced, then Vel'Koz is going to be a free gank. Especially you got an Annie, right? You press and he's stunned. So just get in towards that mid lane. Just make that Vel'Koz useless. Get that Annie fed. Because one thing that Annie can do when she's really fed is maybe just one shot that Vayne from like a flank or from the back line. And when they do not have Vayne, that team, the Pit Ponies, could be in trouble. So I'm hoping to see loads of ganks, very little farming coming in there from the Jin Zhao.
No, indeed. I think that if they go for a little bit of a slow play, if they go for a lot of farming, it could be a little bit rough for them. It won't be able to get them on tempo. And obviously, as you said, Annie, it could even be Swain or Nico in the middle. We're not really sure yet. But either way, regardless of which one is in the mid lane, they will have CC. So there is a nice setup there onto the Jin Zhao to kill off that Vel'Koz. And as we said, it will be very easy to do. The interesting one that I have to think about as well is there is quite a bit of CC, as we've said, right? You have the Pop Blossom. You have pretty much any spell from Annie if she stacks up to 4th. You also have the Nevermore from the Swain. I believe that was the one that is the Grasp. And you have Jin Zhao who can get the knockups as well. And Cho'Gath also going to be able to get the knockups with Rupture. So a lot of CC that has to be dodged from Vayne. And although Vayne, yes, notorious for being a problem when it comes to dealing out damage. And yes, very mobile themselves. If they get hit by any of that damage, there is a very easy way for them to just disappear. Because those mages are awesome at killing ADC. So I do feel like there is that caveat for the kill onto the Vayne. Obviously, Lulu is going to be a little bit protected. But Vel'Koz Vayne, definitely squishy. I feel like Nasus is the big key in my eyes to really know if they're going to be fully successful. Because yes, we've talked about how the others are a little bit easy to kill. Nasus, tanky, plus maybe if they run Ghost, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and against Nasus, what you need is damage over time. You need DPS. That's what you need. And when you look at the team of the Robins, DPS is not their strong suit at all. They've got a lot of bursts. As you said, the Vayne, they have all the tools to make sure that the Vayne cannot be killed. But even then, and this is where I'm worried for them, if they get to the point where there's going to be team fights, which they definitely don't really want to get to, is you still have a Lulu on the Vayne. Now, if Lulu goes for Mikhail's first, for example, you also will have that on you. Vayne could even go for your QSS because there's so much AP on the side of the Robin, so you can just get an early QSS, maybe third item, and just make sure that it's going to be so difficult to kill you. So the tools are there, but I feel like the tools for the Pit Ponies are also there. They just have to try and see if they can force fights. But yeah, it's just going to be so difficult here for I feel like for the Robins to do. But at least what they do have is, as we said, right, that early game moving around, the ganking. I'm just a bit worried about the Nasus as well, because you can look for ganks in mid lane, you can even look for ganks in bot lane, but Xin Zhao is not going to be able to be everywhere all the time, right? And you might have to play around some dragons, because that could be one of those winning conditions. Get those early dragons in, because there's no way the Pit Ponies can fight early on. So maybe look for that. But when Xin Zhao's at bot lane, that means he cannot be top lane, which means Nasus is getting free farm. And I just feel like they're on this timer where they really are gonna have to look for early storms in order to just avoid that timer just getting way too long.
No, indeed, and it is that time pressure, right? Like, obviously they have the clock. We always talk about the clock when we talk about Kassadin. It does feel like the same sentiment for the side of the Pit Ponies. They have that ticking time bomb. It will go off at one point, and when it does, there is no stopping that explosion. But can the game end before that timer ticks to 0? Is the big question. Now, obviously, we talked about how potent Xin Zhao is going to be. Laners themselves could win their own lanes, right? If it is a double mage in that bot side, which it pretty much has to be, there is a way where one gets the stun, the other gets it done, and goodbye to your lane. 300 gold in their pocket, they get that push advantage, they get some tower plates, they get a lot of movement in their lane because they can break that tower and move around to that mid lane. And you know what? They could start snowballing for themselves. So it doesn't all have to come off of Xin Zhao, and I think that is also something that really, really opens up, especially when you do get those disparities in skill between the players, right? Those players that are a little bit in a better matchup could really start to pick apart the other side and then really set themselves up for a good situation going into later stages. So I'm very excited to see how this goes across the map, and the big thing that I really want to see is the macro gameplay from these teams. Do they prio Dragons? Do they prio Rift Herald? Where are they going to be on those maps?
Yeah, I mean, you stole the words out of my mouth when you talked about the lower elos, the differences in elos between these players. That is where you can make a difference, even in the solo lanes, because we're kind of talking, just from champion to champion. And let's say both players were the exact same level, how would it kind of work out, right? But that's just not how it works when there are such big discrepancies in the elos. So. Right, it'll be very interesting to see what they're going to be looking for. I think what the Robins are going to be wanting to looking for mainly is obviously get those early dragons, but I think the heralds are also going to be extremely important, because those are the ones that before 14 minutes they can really, really get your team into a massive lead. Like, I would even say for someone like Xin Zhao, maybe let your solo laner take that herald, get those solo plays, and just absolutely just stomp the opposing side. So we'll see if there's going to be any weird old tactics like that. But now we are going to finally get to see what the actual draft is like. I think, of course, apologies for the way, guys, it has been a bit, but I think we're going to get there. We got the Nico being picked up by Puxu. I don't know if that means that the Nico is going top. Again, we'll have to wait for it a little bit and see exactly where it's going. So
we'll have to see. There's been a lot of dodges that were going down. So so hopefully we're going to be able to start the game. Don't worry, chat. It's not us this time. We're not the ones with the button waiting to play. It is going to want some of these players, but we are getting through it so slowly and shortly. And I think people are finally doing their final draft. And I hope these people are not lined up in the right position, because right now we have a Cho'Gath that could be going jungle and a Xin Zhao mid. Which immediately, I know there's been a lot of crazy stuff listed from Keria, but I don't know if this is really going to make it onto the top scenes.
I hope not. Because I feel like the whole point of this early game jungle, and just outrunning the Amumu is completely gone if that's the case. So we're just gonna accept that is not the case. And if it's the case, I do feel very bad for the Robins, and I can already see the Pit Ponies cheering in the back. But no, I do imagine it is going to just be the Xin Zhao in the jungle. What I'm just most excited about is to see is, where's the Swain going, right? Where's this Annie going, and where's the Nico going? Those three can literally play any of the lanes that are open, right? Top, bot, and support. So what I would do, again, like the Nico AD carry, I like it. It is very difficult to play in a situation, but they do get the DPS that they might need. Maybe send a Swain as a support, of course. It is, one of our hosts, not as a host, of course, but one of our What's the word for it
Producers.
now? Yes,
Producers.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, producer's favorite champions, if not his favorite. Loves to play that Swain. So shout out to him, of course, if that is going to be going to the support role. But yeah, no way, no way. What we're seeing right now on the screen is exactly what what we're going to
Yeah,
see.
I don't think it's magic. I don't know if you guys at home can see it on the screen at the moment. I think that you're just seeing us talk about it. So if you want to know what we're seeing, so on the blue side, the side of the Robins, we have Nico, Cho'Gath, Jinzhao, Swain, and Annie in that order, by the way, which is why we're obviously a little bit like, is this actually where it's going to go? And on the flip side, for the Pit Ponies, we have Nasus, Amumu, Vel'Koz, Vayne, and Lulu, which seems to be completely in the right order. No surprises, no shocks there. So, with that being said, we are going to now have our 3-minute delay to obviously keep it all going to plan, so that no one can cheat by watching the stream. But we've talked a lot about these matchups. Now we finally get to see who is playing, not necessarily exactly where they're all playing, but Toki, which team are you going to give the advantage to going into this game one?
See, now normally, let's say we will be watching like LEC right now. I might even give
Mhm.
it to the Robins, mainly for the fact that I feel like, when you pick an early game team like that, usually you are going to be able to actually like, produce the magic in order to make that work. But I feel like when we get to the elo decrepancies and all the differences there, I feel like I got to give it to the Pit Ponies here. Like, again, we don't know much about the teams and who are going to be the ones, who've played together a lot and are going to be like much more on point together. But when it comes to the lower elo you go, as you said it before, right? The better it is to just go for some scaling and just get some scaling columns, just chill and, just wait for that late game. The only thing is, people do still tend to want to fight, right? You do want to try and get that lead. I hope that the Pit Ponies are just going to be like, no, guys, we need to calm down. We're not going to fight. And if they are able to do that, and if they don't lose out too much, like I think, 20 minutes, 5,000 gold discrepancy could even still be fine for them as long as they keep their heads in it, keep it calm. I think they should be able to take this game.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I fully agree with you on the fighting aspect, and I think it would be a little bit dangerous and a bit of a slippery slope if the Pit Ponies do engage in a lot of early fights, especially if they are not winning them early on. It definitely could cause some big problems because, as you said, they are waiting for that 30-minute mark, maybe even 40 minutes. But if they start fighting, put themselves behind, it could be even later before they finally get to have their moment. So for them, it does feel like, playing it slow and steady, playing the macro game, playing to get those tower plates and gold where you can is going to be more important than necessarily playing for those high impact kills. However, on the flip side, it is a lot of pressure on the Robins. They need to step it up. They need to get the Drakes. They need to put pressure on the map. They need to start getting kills because without that, they're not going to be going anywhere. They need to close the game. I would say pre-30 minutes is realistically a safe timer to have. But it's going to be a difficult ask because when you do start getting to those 2-3 items for a lot of the players for the Pit Ponies, they are going to start coming onto the line.
They definitely are. Now, we have finally found out where everyone is going. So, we do get the Annie support, Swain AD carry. Now, I don't necessarily think this is a bad lane at all. I definitely think they can dominate the Lulu Vayne lane completely. The only problem I have here is if this Nico in the mid lane is going to be AP Nico, they have no DPS. They have no AD damage apart from the Jin Zhao. So, it's going to rely a lot on him to be able to do any damage at all to the Nasus. Like, Nasus with Spirit Visage, I don't know how you're going to get through that. So I'm very worried here for the Robins with the choices that they have made. Hopefully, as you said, they can pull out that early game victory, get that steam rolling, because otherwise, if the snowball stops rolling, it's just they're gonna die out. They're just not gonna make it.
We'll have to see. It's going to be an interesting one. I believe we're going to be going to the game right about now. I think it should be coming up on your screen shortly. We're going to be getting into live, and we get to see some of the skins that they've chosen. Fright Night Annie, obviously Wednesday being a popular show on Netflix. So it feels kind of fitting.
It does feel kind of fitting. We'll see what the Friday Night Annie skin can actually do. Some skins do add a lot of extra power to the champions.
Oh, Soul Stealer Vayne as well. That is a throwback.
That is a throwback. Wow, I've actually not seen anyone play that skin, and I don't even know how long. Though, to be fair, I haven't even seen loads of Vaynes at all. Interesting to know, though, the Vayne has decided to go for a Ghost here. So not, potentially looking for that cleanse to really make sure that all those stuns that she's going to be safe. So I would almost call it a greedy pick. But the thing is, if you can make it work and if you can use that well in a team fight, you are going to be an absolute menace to deal with. And same for this Nasus ride. The Ghost on him makes a lot more sense. And if they cannot stop this guy in the early game, he will literally run through the entire team.
Yeah, indeed. If we can get a little zoom out and a couple rearranges, that would be absolutely aces. Perfect. Thank you very much, production. As we get a little bit of a shuffle here because it looks like it's going to be Nico and Swain in the bot lane. So we were told wrong. Annie going to be in the mid lane there, heating things up. And Toki, what do you know about the rework for Annie, or the nerf, I guess, but which turned into maybe a buff?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Like, I feel like the Annie, I honestly initially didn't even know why Annie just suddenly became so incredibly strong. But I think the biggest thing was obviously like her E, right? And the fact that it not only gave damage back to auto attacks, but also to spells, which basically meant that she has an ability that is a free Thorn Mail, and anyone who hits her is going to get punished one way or another. So we'll see if that is still going to be a very big difference here, because, you know, Vayne might quite hurt from that. When it comes to the later stage of the game. But I feel like, you know, with the shields and with Nasa's tankiness, I don't know how much it is going to matter, because the DPS is just not there for that side of the team. So we'll see what the Xin Zhao is going to do, right? I think that is the one we really have to lay our eyes on. We see that both the junglers have started on the same side, moving towards the top side here for the side of Dozy. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get like an early 2v2 fight, because at this point in the game, they can definitely win those.
Yeah, and I will say there was a disconnect in the start of this game, but no one paused. So I am a little bit surprised they didn't pause, and Swain has now come back to the game. He is going to miss a little bit of those minions early on. If we can just pan down to the bot lane to have a quick look at how many minions he is going to lose, that would be perfect, because a few of them are starting to go, which means obviously a late level 2, and a lot of power going to be given up over to that Vayne and Lulu.
I'm not going to lie, Jreal. That is that is a disaster. It really is. For a team that needs to win this early game so hard, to not have your AD carried there for the first like few seconds of the lane. Look, there's level 2 now, both on the Lulu and the Vayne. They can, honestly, if they really want to, deny the side of the Robins. But you can see how they're still playing it safe. And I can appreciate this, right? We talked about how they should just be calming, should not be looking for anything crazy. So even the fact that they could deny the Swain here, they decide no risks. We're just going to play it very slow, and that gives me a good feeling for them getting into the rest of this match.
Yeah, and I want to talk about quickly the jungle items that we see. So Xin Zhao has gone for the red jungle item, which I feel like is probably the rarest that I see. I've seen some Sejuanis take the blue one, people take the green one, but all in all, I have not seen too much of the red. The only time I've seen red is when I personally was playing solo queue and playing Fiddlesticks, because I can't think of one that is better on Fiddlesticks, but it does seem to be a bit of a rarity.
Yeah, it definitely is not very common. I think as well, I mainly see the green ones coming out here. So yeah, we'll see if it's going to make like a difference here for the Xin Zhao this game. We do see that obviously he is faster now. He is on the Scuttle Crab, whereas Amumu decided to go towards those golems. I think that's a smart plan here from Sir Jam, right? Doesn't want to fight him early on into this match. And already what we see, right, Dozy looking maybe towards that mid lane. Is just going to move down to get himself a double scuttle most likely. But Sir Jam may potentially be trying to look for a gank here, but he's just going to be able to fight nothing. Forced the back, so good start here for Dozy. Hopefully he can push that lead into some actual kills for his team.
Yeah, I love that. And also, if we could get the towers on our screen with maybe the gold diff and stuff, that would be top. Maybe even a timer. But right now, we're going to see a bit of a top lane fight. Ocean Mango taking on Jim. We'll see if they can win this one out. The Nasus, we said, scales up really nicely, but does have a level advantage here, getting knocked up by the Fracture. It is going to be a pretty close one, although Jim now backing away, gets the silence, doesn't get the knockup though, and Ocean Mango might have his moment. Got the ghost, the flash already used, flash forward, and there's first blood to the Nasus. Ocean Mango finding success in the early game. Not you want to see if you are the Robins, but now in the bot lane, it could be all getting worse as Vayne is stepping forward. Flex is putting his pedal to the metal. Can he kill off one? He's not going to be able to get it, but he gets grabbed into tower range. That's a tower shot. That's a lot of damage, but they're not going to go forward. Gordo could have potentially had the kill. The Ignite is still there for Pugsy, but they didn't go for the kill.
It's so close, but what a disaster here for the Robins. They lost that top lane 1v1, and Jim Dilf, I mean, you got to commend him for going for it. He needs to try and find himself allegiance toward that top lane, but now the Nasus is ahead, and we talked about how impossible it is for the Robins comp to stop this Nasus, and now in the bot lane, we see Flex and Brenna just actually winning out on the 2v2. Dozy is going to have to pull out something rather quickly, because this game is already falling out of hand.
Indeed, we need to see some sort of potency here. We do have the first dragon on the Rift, but it's already warded up by the Pit Ponies. So if you are the Robins, you've got to be playing a bit smart. You've got to have some pro in that bot side. And so far, it feels like the Vayne is really using that lead that they got early.
Yeah, and look at this now. The Dragon has been started by Dozy, and it looks like the side of the Pit Ponies are going to be there in time. He's going to have to back off. This is a lot of wasted time here for Dozy.
It is indeed, and now the Amumu just able to push them away. Sir Jam claiming his crown as dominant jungler over this Drake.
Yeah, it's good stuff here by the Pit Ponies. You can already see that as a team they are playing this very well. They're playing it slow, they're playing it calm and collected, and that's exactly what they needed to do. Now, Sir Jam, I like how he's kind of just walking around his mid lane as he's just walking around and just making sure that, you know, nothing crazy is going to happen. And it just looks like now ultimately, no! Just ice!
Oh, the beam is too much for Annie. Goodbye, as now Jim going to be stepping into the mid lane, looking to maybe claim back a kill for the team. Oh, slightly short on the Xin Zhao there, and a good flash will get Stingy away, and now they can move forward. Sir Jam going to be able to give a lot of space, a lot of CC as well over to Stingy, and once again, the win becomes lightning, just going slightly short. The knock-on not going to land, and Sir Jam, the beautiful dodge, will be able to claim the kill onto Dozy, and it is all looking pretty good for the side of Pit Ponies, but maybe I spoke too soon. Flex could be caught out here, although beautiful little movement to get away from that Swain.
Yeah, Flex Floor have been doing very well there, but my Lord Almighty, 2 solo kills in the top and the mid lane for the scaling team. The Pit Ponies might be laughing right now. That's just stand in the mid lane.
Never move. Kill. Gordo finds the first one for the Robins. They are back into this game.
That is so important here for the side of the Robins because everything was falling apart. So to get that kill in towards this bot lane is really going to help them, especially after the fact that Chimpanzee has been losing that early farm as well. So now gets to get this push in, and that means that Flex is going to miss a lot of that wave. So good stuff here by the side of the Robins to get themselves somewhat in. But when you look at the goal difference, it's already 2,000 towards the scaling Pit Ponies. There's only 8 minutes into the game. Herald is up now as well. Dozy is gonna have to somehow find it, but Sir Jam is already making his way.
Already making their way, and this is how you play, right? When you're ahead, you can just go for all the objectives. The Amumu giving up a bit more farm. We talked about how the Xin Zhao maybe wanted to skip a few camps, get those early ganks in. We haven't seen it happen so far, and the laners are starting to hurt as well. The Nasus getting a kill, the Vel'Koz, it is all a little bit rough around those solo lanes. Bot lane did manage to get one back for themselves, but the Vayne is still very far ahead in CS, so overall, no one is losing their lanes. However, the shining light for the Robins is that no objectives have been taken, so they're not being pressured by a potential Dragon Soul coming in early or the Rift Herald opening up mid.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really well played here. So you might see a fight in the bot lane.
Ooh, here goes the Night Hunter looking for this kill. Gonna go under the tower as well. Looking for it. Doesn't get it though. Swain with the kill. Flex stepping a little bit too far forward. And it is not going to be one for the Vayne. Another kill donated in that bot lane. Final hour. Yes, for yourself, Flex. For yourself.
Yeah. We talked about how they didn't need to go aggressive at all, and Flex just decides to practically solo tower dive the Swain here on the side of the Robins. Does not work out, so that's a 2-0 Swain, so that CS lead definitely already negated here. So yeah, interesting stuff here from Flex Floor. Did not expect them to go that aggressive, but I guess it says a lot about the player as well right now, right? So no need to go for that, does go for that. A little bit of trouble here for the side of the Pit Ponies, but again, I don't think they have to worry about it too much, as you said, right? Because no objectives have been taken. They are still up there. And, you know, every dragon that's going to be taken now, it's going to be way too late already for the side of Robins for the come up as the mid lane flash from Flex.
Beautiful flash there to get away from the pop. Blossom will get him to safety as Dogsy is going to go for this dragon. So finally, Robin's going to try and claim something back on the map. It is going to be traded for the Rift Herald though in the top side, and I am wondering where Sir Jam is going to put this Rift Herald. Do they go to the mid lane that is already winning? Do they go to the top lane of the Nasus who is also already ahead? Or do they maybe supplement their bot lane, give them a little bit more gold and bring them back if they play for that as well?
I think it is definitely going towards the bot or mid side here, because as a top laner, you do not want your turret to be down this early, right? Like, it's fine to get those 2 players on the Nasus if you want, but the Nasus is going to be scaling anyway. You do not want this early top turret to fall, because what that means is that Ocean Mango is going to be able to push further into the lane, but that also makes it much, much easier to gank, and that is a way for the Robins to also come back and to try and shut him down. So I don't think it's going to there. We already see Sir Jam moving over towards that bot side of the map, but now maybe a gank in the mid lane. Dozy looking looking for it.
Ooh, good knock up there onto Kilo. Will stop the enemy moving forward, but Stingy may be in trouble here. Dozy gets the knock up. The stun is inbound. Is it going to land? And goodbye to the Vel'Koz. A little bit heated up. It is a good kill over to that Xin Zhao. Maybe would have been better if Kilo could have claimed it, but a kill is a kill. And they're going to get one back as Ocean Mango is keeping this pressure so high onto Jim. Going to be looking to get a bit more tower plates. Maybe Dozy can protect the tower for his top laner.
Yeah, indeed. There's a teleport coming in here from Jim Dilf, so that does mean that, you know, the place for the objectives will be a little bit more difficult to find. But now, top lane gang, can they kill him, though?
Ooh, maybe not. Nasus has gone God mode, looking to just run them down. The ghost is progged. One more cleaver could end it all. He's going to get the first, and now he's looking for the second. Jim could be in trouble here. This Nasus is monstrous. The only thing that might hold him back is his mana, as he now goes for the blast cone, getting a few more style points into this play. But a good flash out from Jim will keep him safe. So Cho'Gath survives to fight another day. It cannot be the same said for Xin Zhao. As right now, Pop Blossom coming in from Pugzu, not going to be able to land it though, and maybe has to walk away as the movement is walking down here. This could get a little bit scary. Bandit shots not going to land though, slightly short, and that means that everyone is going to be safe in the spot side.
And look at the difference in the top lane right now. It's the 30 CS difference. He already has 2 plates on his name. Jim Dilf is not able to do anything in his top lane. And even with a gank, Dozy, it's good that he gets that first kill, but he wasn't able to buy items yet before he went towards that top lane. So he just went in clean without basically that money from that kill. And now Ocean Mango so incredibly strong. I am fearing for their lives right now for the side of the Robins, because if you cannot kill him with a gank, you're going to have to send at least 3 people up there, but that means you're leaving a Vayne to practically free farm. This is looking very, very difficult here for the side of the Robins. They're going to have to find something crazy and pull something out of the hat, because this game is falling apart, Jreal.
Yeah, 2.2k gold lead over to the Pit Ponies. So it's not really it led too much. They haven't dropped that Herald yet either. They're still sitting on that one. They've got 1 minute left to do it. Well, they will be losing out on a decent chunk of gold as Pugzu going to be stepping forward once again, trying to get aggressive onto this bot lane. And they have had a bit of success with Flex maybe overstepping, but now here comes Sir Jam, as you said. Over a ward they will walk though. It is going to be spotted out, but surely he drops the Herald here. Only 40 seconds left on this one before it goes away.
Yeah, I definitely imagine he's going to be looking there. Maybe even towards the mid lane. It is possible. There is flash, however, on the side of Kilo, so could be able to get out of that. You can see that Sir Jam is desperately looking for it. Yeah, it's not. You can't play this lane anymore. That's the thing. We talked about it before the game even started, that when you pick the Cho'Gath top against the Nasus, you're basically handshaking. But when you then also fall behind, the handshake isn't there anymore. Now it's more like a fist bump, because Jim Dilf, he might even be dove.
Can we get a stats check on this one for the Nasus? Can we get a stacks? Oh, hold on 1 second. It was Kadem against the wall. Gordo could be in trouble. Going to drop the Demonic Ascension. No, but a good dodge. Flex will get him away from the Pop Blossom, allowing him to keep moving forward. And Pugzu is going to try and get away. Has the clone, and it could be a tower dive. But Flex has learned from before. Says no to any more, and will just take the 1 kill and back away.
Pit Ponies looking very good. Engaged on Dozy now. Is Stingy in range?
Sir Jam could be in trouble. Sorry, not Sir Jam. Dozy in trouble there. Gets absolutely beamed by the Vel'Koz. The curse from Sam Bummy just adding that extra bit of damage that isn't either necessary from the Vel'Kozes. Now, Pugzu, you're a little bit overstepped there, bud. As Flexfloor going to pick up an easy kill. Sir Jam just willing to fight anyone he sees. Kilo is next on the agenda. We'll be able to get away with the blast cone though and stay alive. Ocean Mango, can we get a quick check on the stacks for this Nasus? Because this Nasus is looking like a big dog.
He is looking like a massive, massive dog at the moment. Look at that. We're going to look at stack 324 stacks already, Jreal. This dog is way too strong. It's more like a wolf at this point. There is no way that we're going to stop him. There is only 1 dragon taken here by the Robins, and they're already 5,000 gold behind. Now, remember when I said how if they are 5,000 gold ahead at 20 minutes, it's still playable for the Pit Ponies. They're 5,000 gold behind at 15 minutes. This game is starting to become unplayable for them beyond any belief, because now top lane also going down, and Sir Jam is the one who is probably going to have the priority here over the Dragon.
Once again, Dragon priority is theirs. We've seen fights in the ball lane go the way of the Pit Ponies now as well, so Their bot lane is going to need to find something to bring them back, but Stingy as well is going to cause problems. And Doxy is now in a bit of a rough situation already in the pit, but Sir Jam could be caught out here. It is a 1v3, although Vel'Koz with the biggest kills over to the mid laner there, coming through hot is Stingy, and that is going to be an easy dragon just cleaned up.
Was one of the worst lasers, as in the most painful lasers I have ever seen. Together with a dragon here for the side of the Pit Ponies, the Robins, they must be crying right now because everything is falling apart. What a massive play here by Stingy. 5-1, and with a 60 CS difference, he is crushing this mid lane.
Crushing it indeed, and the range advantage is just so unfortunate to watch, and he tries to step up and just gets hit in the face. Vel'Koz is just able to fight you from half the lane away, and we get to see a gold difference stat.
Oh,
it started slow, you know, they were keeping them even, and it has just escalated very quickly.
But what a painful sight, right, for the side of the Robins. They are the ones who needed to get the early game lead, and they haven't even been a singular point of gold ahead in this entire game. That shows how well the Pit Ponies have played this game. They have been looking very good, looking very calm at the start of the game, but they were out-farming their opponents, and the moments when they were there, they took them, they took the chances, they even looked for them, which is something they didn't even have to do in this game. And now with that 8,000 gold lead, they're in prime position to take over this game. They got themselves a new Herald as well. They can just, you know, wait for this, maybe even use it for like an early Baron at this point if they can, because they have Nasus Vayne and Vel'Koz. They can play for this if they want to.
Yeah, I feel like the only champion they're missing to make the perfect Baron team is Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
But they're pretty good. You know, Vel'Koz, true percent damage. You got the Vayne doing percent health damage. Like, Baron is not going to be a difficult task for them, so they should be able to go for it early, as Jim is going to step forward, but you cannot step into the Vayne. The tumble is going to cause big problems in the wild growth. It's just going to make them so tanky. A beautiful flash to get around it, and another kill to flex floor. No problems, and they're going to keep going. Doty could be in trouble. Drops are never moving. Now Gordo in big trouble, trying to get away, but it's not going to be able to make it out. Now the Pop Blossom is going to get the stun, and a bit of damage is going on to Flex. He will finally go down, but the team is here. The Ray almost killing off the Nico, but not quite, and Kilo able to walk out with HP. Dozy not going to say the same though, and Pubs are going to try and recall in that bush, should be able to get away, although they are looking potentially for that Annie. Kilo might be in trouble. Herald though down the mid lane, going to open up this tower as Ocean Mango is just doing Nasus things, pushing for his life.
Desperation play here from Robins, looking for something towards that mid lane, but they were completely unaware of the fact that he had no teammates behind him. Jim Dilf was completely on his own, died before the team could even join, and yes, it was a decent fight, only a 3-for-2 for the side of the Pit Ponies, but the fact that Jim Dilf wasn't there, if he was able to be there, maybe they could find something, but look at Ocean Mango!
Oh, going in, that's a big stun. They're coming in from the Amumu, setting up the Vel'Koz so nicely, and now Kilo being chased underneath this tower by Nasus. Towers don't do anything to the Nasus this big, but will get chomped, so we'll finally go down. They will pick up one on the backline as well. Xin Xiao dropping. It is only the Cho'Gath holding the base alive, and it looks like Vel'Koz is just going to keep pushing for the end. Stingy able to just keep himself at range, keep autoing this tower, and I think they're going to go for that inhib first.
19 minutes. 2 inhibitors down right now on the early game team. It's absolute disaster here for the Robins. Now, the only positive you can maybe take about this is that they get loads of super minion waves to even help them in, but they might be looking for the end here, the Pit Ponies.
This is a fast game if they do. 19 minutes, they're going to go straight in. Pop Blossom does catch out the Vayne route there, but beautiful shielding from the Lulu will keep them alive, and now it could be the time for Flex. Will he get there? But Chomp from the Cho'Gath will disintegrate him as the disintegration ray kills off the Swain. Jim Dilf is going to be able to stay alive for a bit longer. Can Stingy find enough damage to close out this game? Nasus, no TP. So not able to get themselves quickly into this base, but is walking down as Kilo gets knocked up. One more auto could do it. Does he have the Q? Hits it. LeBron James does not miss these, and he's going to be able to pick up another kill in the base. They are just penning them in 20 minutes. The Baron has only just spawned, and they are trying to end.
Stingy dunking on them like he's been dunking on this entire game. 9-1-5, 700 gold shutdown. 10 stacks. Went for the Magi's now because, yeah, why not? You've got the entire base almost broken open here on the side of the Robins. And as I said, right, maybe the only positive you can take out of this is the fact that they got some of those kills. They got the shutdown on Ocean Mango. Now they have like super minions coming in so they can farm those up. But the thing is, the timer is still there. The timer is still in favor of the Pit Ponies, and it will always be. And now with a 11 1,000 goal difference. I don't really see a way of them coming back. Maybe they can kill Ocean Mango here, but I wonder if they can even.
I don't know if they can. Ocean Mango has ulti. The right of the Santa is going to come through, and I think that the right is going to be Nasus killing everyone. Pugsy is gone down. Gordo is the next. The Krug coming in MVP, stopping the Never Move from catching on the Nasus, and now Jim Dilf is trying to get away. The members are here. Goodbye, bonk on the head. Triple to the Nasus, and in base, the minions are doing it for themselves anyway, crushing down these towers. And we can have a little look at the Winions here versus Annie. Although production has decided we're going to have a quick look at Nasus taking the tier 2 tower. And now we're just super zoomed in, but the Winions have got they've got their tower, and the Baron has been taken as well. It is all going the way of the Pit Ponies, and surely Ocean Mango just goes and ends. I think we're going for a completionist run here, so we are going to get all the towers removed.
Yeah, this is looking for everything at this point, and I love how the team is not even together anymore. This is like a 3v5 at the moment. If there is any time to fight, it could be now for the side of the Romans, but I don't know if they have all the power to do it.
I want a stat check on the Nasus. He's got to be massive right now. I think he's going to go for the 5. He's going to go for the 5 kill here. They're just going to be moving forward, but they are going to respect it a bit. They're going to step back. Timber's going to give another stack over to that Nasus, as I think the final fight is dawning upon us. Dozy is going to be the one in the firing line. Stingy going to get the first kill. Gordo on the run, just about getting away, and Pop Blossom will hold Nasus at bay. Gronked in! They killed him! They killed him with the laser, but Poxu almost dies immediately from 1 W from the Velcros, and there's the beam to kill them all. The stun from the Amumu, the Vayne coming in with a bit of extra damage, and there goes the Nexus. Game 1 over to the Pit Ponies to kick us off in the Welsh League.
Dominant display here from the Pit Ponies. Looking incredibly strong and good connected as a team. They just absolutely... I'm not even going to throw on a rug. They just completely crushed Robin's here. Robin's looking for that early game, looking for those early game picks, but they weren't able to find anything. And then when your jungler dies so early on to the top laner, I feel like that just completely exploded the game.
Yeah, the Nasus got very far ahead. Like, we didn't get a final stack check, which is a bit sad. But 300 stacks at 15 minutes, that's a lot of stacks. You know, it was probably something like 400 or 500 line, and yeah, that's a lot of damage. It's a lot of bonking. The Nasus putting in a lot of work, and to be honest, I guess the game went how it would in real life. I don't think a Robin would ever be able to kill a pony, so maybe the name's the clue to who's going to win.
Yeah, maybe we should have known that from the second, like the moment the teams if it started right before the draft. But no, honestly, like, fair play to the Pit Ponies here, because even despite the fact that they had this early game lead, apart from Flex in the bot lane who just went absolutely bonkers mode, they did keep it calm. They did keep it collected. You saw how Sir Jam in that jungle was just farming his own jungle, wasn't looking for invaders. He wasn't looking for crazy vision plays, just decided to keep it slow, and it worked out beautifully for them. Ocean Mango just started popping off. Flex in the bot lane ended up popping off as well, despite that early game dive. And you know, got to give it as all to Stingy, who absolutely outfarmed, like completely outfarmed his opposing mid laner, and then just was able to just stay in the mid lane and even look for 1v2s. He was looking incredible. The whole team looked incredible. Pit Ponies definitely going to be a team to be feared. No,
indeed. Pit Ponies definitely putting on a good show, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing more from them. But we're going to be going to a quick break. When we come back, we'll be getting Game 2, the Pirates versus the Goats. We'll see which one is going to come out ahead. But until then, go get a snack. Be right back. You don't want to miss this.
Achieve more. Become an apprentice. A genius decision. Eisiau dysgu sgiliau newydd? Neu ddysgu sgiliau cyflogadwy? Gwna'r ddau a chyflawni mwy. Bydd yn brentis. Dewis doeth.
Hello, we are back once again for game number 2. So it is going to be, well, it's not going to be the Robins. Let me get the names again. The Pirates versus the Ghosts. That is who is going to be back up onto the stream. Hopefully, we're going to get into that one shortly. But let's have a quick rundown in case you guys missed the first game. So it was the Robins versus the Pit Ponies. Toki, take us through what happened in game 1.
I think a quick rundown is exactly what you want to call that, because it was an absolute rundown from the side of the Pit Ponies. They decided to pick this massive late game composition and, well, we're looking to play it slow. However, the game kind of went out of hand. They started getting solo kills in the top and in the mid lane. Then the side of the Robins decided to gank top lane, but got 2v1'd. And from there, the game just kind of fell apart. It was a complete stomp with nothing taken, basically, for the side of the Robins. And the Pit Ponies straight up just waltzed away with the win quite handily.
Yeah, indeed. It was a pretty good one. We talked about how the late game, the 40-minute mark, the 30-minute mark could be a thing. It ended up being the 20-minute mark where they really exploded. They just had their moment. Nasus went crazy. That was one of the most dominant Nasus performances I've seen in a long time. And I'm sure that it is going to continue because they looked good. So the Pit Ponies are up there with teams that we have to watch out for in this tournament. You know, you're really going to be careful. They definitely know what they're doing. And they were able to execute pretty well. But shout out to the Robins. Hopefully they can come back and get some changes to get themselves some wins later on. Now, on to game 2, the Pirates versus the Ghosts. Now, we had a hypothesis about names, right? So if it's actual goats, the Pirates are going to win.
Yes.
If they're talking about some greatest of all times, then it's an even fight.
I love how you say it's still an even fight. It's not even that the goats are then just going to
It depends who the goat is, right? Like, if we're talking about, it's the goat of, I don't know, like, golf, Tiger Woods. Is Tiger Woods going to be able to fight a pirate? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very wide range of goats that we can talk about here. But, the goats of League, I don't know. I mean, if they got Faker and perhaps that might be the case. But I don't think we're going to be watching Faker today. Don't think so. In the Welsh League, that'd be something though if that would ever happen. But no.
Welsh League gets Faker, the biggest signing from T1. Like, what? No, that'd be wild.
That's something that, you know, even if you dream about it, like talking about like 0.0000001% chances, that's probably just, it doesn't exist. But anyway, the Pirates and the Ghosts. Now, I do know that the one thing I do know about the Pirates, obviously as a pirate myself, I know that there is a friend of Gizmo who's on there. It's Legacy God. This guy is in his master promo. He's actually got there today. So that is going to be an 80 carry to watch in this game, Jreal.
Yeah, indeed. And obviously Gizmo, he's pretty good at the game, which obviously means that their legacy is going to be pretty good too. So definitely want to watch it. As you said, playing in that ADC role, one that we talked about earlier in the stream, being so potent right now in the meta. It has never been better time to be an ADC in the last 3 years.
Yeah, so this is, I absolutely expect the Pirates to play around Legacy God here, right? Like play around that bot lane, get like a good setup, get maybe like you can either go aggressive, you can go passively, you can go for like a Civilula setup. But well, we already see the setup that we have here. Actually, the Pirates, I'm pretty sure, are on the red side. So we have the Varus pick coming in there against the Twitch Lulu. So looking like more scaling here from the side of the Goats.
Yeah, a bit more scaling. We like to see that. I feel like Varus is a very meta pick right now. Yes. So it's quite interesting to see that one so early on. Obviously, the Vi as well, really according to what we've seen a lot in pro play. On the other side, Twitch Lulu, not as common. Definitely a little bit of a maybe Season 12 ender. But we'll see if that can pair up nicely. Obviously, we already saw some late game put off, and Twitch Lulu really can do the same.
Definitely can do the same. And the thing I like already about the Pirates team comp here is that the lockdown is already incredible, right? And when you have a Twitch Lulu, Twitch is someone who can completely run away in a team fight. So when you have a Vi, when you have a Varus with that Chain of Corruption as well, to be able to lock him up and kill him quickly, that could really change quite literally the tides here for the Pirates. But we'll see now with the set picked up as well. Could, of course, go in all 3 lanes that are left, frankly. Could go top, could go mid, could go support. So we'll see if they're going to decide to go for an aggressive bot lane here, or maybe just, you know, have a good flex pick here. So either way it works, as now Maokai is being picked, likely to go towards that jungle. This is scaling city here for the Goats.
Yeah, Maokai is the most banned pick in the world right now across all leagues in the top bracket, and there is a reason for it. It is disgustingly potent, disgustingly strong, both AP and tank coming in and causing problems. So it'll be interesting to see which one that does end up being. It could go top, it could go into that jungle as well. Maybe even support if they are going to flex that Lulu too, but I do think it will most likely be in the jungle, and I'm interested to see how it does play against. But if you were going to play against the Maokai Toki, what are you looking to draft? They have the Vi, they have the early game. How are you looking to play those lanes?
Yeah, you got the lockdown right. Just the one difficult thing is now to try and get vision for your team. That's always the biggest difficult part when you're playing against a Maokai. He can put those saplings anywhere he wants on a pretty decently low cooldown. So you need someone to walk in, right? You need that front line. Now they got that. They got the set and the Vi. So the front line is sorted. Now, however, we talked how they want to play around that bot lane. We talked about they want to play around Legacy God. So they got that Varus pick. Now they just need to make sure that they can get some picks to solidify his position in his composition. Because when you look at this, Vi and Set, they want to go in. There's no real protection at the moment for the Varus. So if, you know, a Twitch could like get himself in towards that backline, or a Maokai even, then that could be trouble here. But I'm seeing a Renata hover. Now, I've always been told, do not talk about hovers, especially when it's a Teemo, right? But we'll see what the pick is going to be. It's going to be a Nasus. It looks like we're kind of getting a bit of a deja vu here. We're going full on scaling once again here. This time the goats are following in the footsteps of the Pit Ponies. Nasus being sent over towards that top lane. I wonder if they're going to decide to put the set into it or look for a counter pick.
I think the goats are actually on the blue side here. I think pirates are on the
Pirates
red
are
side. Yeah,
okay.
Pirates are on red side. They're the ones playing the scaling.
That makes a lot more
Goats
sense then.
are on the blue side, and we're going to see a Victor. So they're going to get some scaling for themselves as well. Now, obviously, scaling worked really well in that first game, especially through the bot side as well as the top with that Nasus. So Twitch being on that roster is definitely a little bit scary, especially if that is going to be Legacy God playing that Twitch. It could become problematic as Brom being hovered. Brom hasn't really been played for a very long time. Was one of my personal favorites when I used to play support, but that was season 6. So I don't know how this one's going to do. Good against Twitch because you can block the spray and pray, you can block that Ratatata, but not necessarily the greatest laning phase.
No, and that's why I'm not too happy about this. I kind of hoped from the Ghosts to see that they were going to look for a strong laning phase. When you have that Varus who has such an incredible burst early on in this game, picking up that Brom is kind of like, okay, no, we're going to handshake and we're going to look to be able to, you know, have those earlier fights be better for us to block that spray and pray, as you said. Now the Victor pick makes sense as well for me. You know, it's just they had to blind pick mid lane, so they just went for a classic mid laner that can, you know, be fine against pretty much any laner. But Cassiopeia will be the last pick here, so a lot of power here on the side of the Pirates. They have so much late game power, and that's why I was a little bit surprised to see that Nasus. But let's talk about one thing at a time. So we got Legacy got on the Twitch here, right? We wanted to talk about that. He has got the defense for him. He's got that Lulu. You have the Maokai, who can also be very good at peeling for your AD carry. It's just my little bit of worry that I have here. Yes, they got the lockdown with Vi and Set, but I don't really see how they're going to try and deny Legacy Court when it comes to this early game, because, as you said, you picked up Braum, but the laning phase, not really it. So maybe you're going to have to look for loads of early ganks. It's going to be difficult here for the side of the Goats.
It is going to be a little bit difficult, right? Obviously, again, we have that paradox where we have that scaling, we have that early game.
Yep.
Now, merely a little bit more scaling for the Goats than we saw from the Robins. So they do have those caveats of the Victor, of the Varus being strong in those later stages. But Vi is going to fall off. You know, there is a ticking timer on that one. And also, Twitch is going to become a big problem with Cassiopeia and Nasus. They are all going to become menaces to society with that Maokai too. So they do kind of need to close out that game at some point. But how are they going to do it, right? Set can definitely set himself up, pardon the pun, to kill off the Nasus. But in terms of mid lane, it's going to be a little bit of a trade. It does require that attention from the jungler. But fortunately, Vi is one to get it done. Very, very strong in the early stages. And the big caveat, or the big win against Vi, is normally other early game junglers. And Maokai not going to fit that.
No, so we're definitely going to be looking at Voiceback here to make the plays happen. He needs to make sure that he's going to be absolutely stomping on towards in this early game for the Goats. And yeah, talking about that Set in the top lane, I'm actually not that big of a fan of it against the Nasus. Yes, Set can potentially get ahead, but it's not actually that easy to do against a Nasus. Now, the thing that Set does have, they have a lot of dive power. So if they actually want to play around this top side here for the side of the GOATs, they can look for like early game ganks and early game dives. This is the thing I'm worried about though. You have two ganks that you really want to gank here when you are, two lanes rather, that you really want to gank here as Void Spike. Mid lane, you know, it's kind of a handshake. It's fine if it goes either way. You just want to keep it relatively even. But you kind of want to deny the Nasus because the Nasus is going to waltz over a set if the set doesn't get an early kill or some kind of early lead or early tower plates, anything along those lines. And the bot lane, same kind of thing. This Twitch, Braum is not necessarily the pick to really try and deny this Twitch early into the game. There is a possibility because Varus, of course, if he goes for those Hail of Blades, he can look for those early kills if Braum is able to land an auto attack on the Twitch. But with the diluted defense, it is going to be rather difficult to do. So I'm going to be very interested to see which way Void Spike is going to path in this game, because I feel like that is going to set the tone for the early game for this team.
And we've also got some interesting kind of overlaps, right? Twitch can poison, Cassiopeia can play Twin Fangs off of that poison as well. So it's going to make Cassiopeia even stronger. So these team fights, especially in late game, are going to be a huge problem for the side of the GOATs, because if you do get poisoned, Cassiopeia is now going to be able to do everything that they want, and we've all seen late game Cassiopeia doesn't need to buy boots, get 6 items. It's a problem and a half, and if they get that poison, you don't even have to land that Noxious Blast. You're basically going to be free hitting, and it's going to be a lot of damage. Also, Baron power, very much there, but we'll see if we even get to that later stage. Obviously, game 1, we didn't even have to think about Baron, we didn't even have to think about late game. We ended in 20 minutes. Will this one be the same? I'm not sure. But either way, I'm excited for game number 2. Can the Pirates steal away the booty from the side of the GOATs? Or are the GOATs going to show up and really show us exactly why they got their title?
We're going to see it. Well, it depends if, as you said, right, if it's the animal GOATs or if they're actually the greatest of all times. But if they're the greatest of all times, I will hope to see them absolutely pop off in this game.
GOATs are kind of dangerous though, actually. Like, legit.
They are dangerous. But
like,
I mean, what are they going to do on the seas? That's what I'm worrying about.
Well, I'm guessing that they're not in the water, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so the river's out of bounds. River's out of bounds.
Like, if they're fighting on a ship, I feel like, you know what, a GOAT actually could be kind of dangerous. Like,
okay, all right. We could
like, but, I don't know. Like, the Pirates,
cool, you know.
Yeah, it could be interesting. We'll see if they can set sail into winning ways. That is what they're going to be looking to do. As we do get on to the Rift, very much as Gizmo dropping some puns in the chat. You know, we'll see how that one lands.
Yeah, no, Gizmo dropping puns. See, this is why I am the caster tonight, not Gizmo, because otherwise you guys are going to be crying from the amount of puns that will be made. Yeah, we're going to get ourselves into the game really soon. Looks like a bit of a spectator bug, you know, the league client, of course, you know, 13 years old. Never a problem with the league client. It has to be Gizmo, right?
No, don't leave.
The league client.
Don't leave. Yeah, you just got to click past it. Like, yeah, there we go. Yeah. Old school. I did production one time, and that's when the lead client decided to just not work. You know, you get a black screen. All you have to do is just click past the timer. If any of the people in the chat who want to do some production and ever get this bug, you have to deal with it. That's how you do it. But into the game, let's go. Let's get this one back onto the stream, and let's get into this game, because it's going to be a little bit of a banger. I feel like we're going to get some team fights, we're going to get some action, and Twitch has taken Ghost, which is not what I was expecting.
Not what I was expecting either, but what I was also not expecting, though it kind of makes sense. We have the Braum early invade, and look at Llewellyn. Could be in trouble here if they decide to go. They're going.
Ooh,
That's a flash.
Gets away as well. Did get hit, but was able to keep moving.
Can we talk about the fact that the Pirates, you know, the team name on the top right is Hook?
Yeah.
I like that. You know, I got to respect it. I'm sad that there's no like threshold team or something though. Like, this would be the perfect opportunity.
Ooh. Wait, could you play 5 hooks?
5 hooks. Blitz, Thresh,
Nautilus.
Who
else?
Oh, Pike.
Pike. Okay, yeah. Is there a fifth?
Is there a fifth? We might need a chat to help us out here.
Yeah. Chat, let us know if there's any other Hook champs that we're missing. Because maybe Hook has to do that one day. You know, maybe they have to play all 5 Hook champions in the game. I'd
love to see it, you know. Maybe if they're already through, like if they've already got that first place secured somehow, maybe they can do it. Darius, does that count? Maybe it counts.
Darius could count.
Sure, yeah.
King doesn't have a hook.
King have a hook.
What is going on? That's not a hook, that's a cleaver. That's a scythe, bro.
I mean, I guess it can hook if we're talking it like that way. But either way, we're going to talk about what's going on right now, because we are going to see a potential early level 2 gank here from Void Spike towards the bot lane. They really want to deny Legacy from getting out of the way of this game. no ward here. Could be a gank.
And if we could get a little bit of a zoom out, that would be perfect. From production there is right now, Love Eternity going to get a bit of damage onto Johan, and this is a lot of damage actually. Set punching away, getting decent damage on to the Nasus. Vi, however, not able to punch their way into that bot lane. Has to go back to clearing some camps. So Legacy God not going to be getting ganked early on, as we now get a little bit of push into this bot lane from the Goats. But now they have the level 2, so able to step forward. Winterspike going to go slightly wide though, and Legacy able to trade back.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Johan once again could be in a bit of trouble. He has got the wave towards him, so he should technically be fine when he comes underneath there. He's walking up though. Ooh, well, nothing going to happen there. He has to be careful, he's playing with fire at this point, but the wave is looking good for him. But that early gank not working out for Voidspike actually could be quite bad for them, because they need to have make stuff happen in this early game. And look at the farm difference between the two junglers now. It's already 16 CS now. Vi has just picked up that last one. We might see a dive.
Oh, Love Eternity, I don't know about this one. Has the Haymaker, will get the first kill, will be trading their life, but also a huge minion wave denied from the Nasus. They have to TP to this wave. Look at the minions, Toki. They're going to TP it back in. They will be able to claim these. So fortunately, not going to lose all of that XP. In the end, I don't know if that was actually worth for the set.
It definitely wasn't Jreal, because now, because of the teleport, if there wasn't a teleport on the Nasus, 100% worth, right? Any time in the week. But now, Nasus is going to pick up all this farm. Nasus gets the kill, and yes, you have first blood on the set, but arguably, having a kill on that Nasus is so much more important. This means he can get to those defensive items earlier on, as now Ringo Starr looking for a gank in the bot lane.
Looking for it indeed. They've got the Winter Spy. There's the flash forward. Going to be able to get the knock back. Ninja Yoshi trying to get away, but there is the damage coming out from Legacy God. Gets one, looking for two. Kija trying to get out, but gets slowed again. And goodbye. Double kill to Legacy God. We talked about how dangerous he's going to be later on in this game.
Yep, and with 2 kills, he is going to be even more of a menace now. That is trouble here for the side of the Goats. Not looking too good now, because now Legacy got with 2 kills. Does also mean that this Braum pick is kind of been negated already. Unless we're getting to the later team fights, he might be in trouble here. But now, it looks like Voidspike has only one job to do, right? Play around that top side. But now, Johan knows that he is there. He can play it safe. He should be fine. Voidspike having a rough game at the moment, and with Legacy God getting ahead, the Goats need to quickly find an answer to those players.
Yeah, fortunate for the top side though, Love Eternity is getting the wave pushed back into them, so this is a really problematic situation for Johan to be in. Yes, has one level up, but this set is really heavily trading and has the item advantage as well. So, going to be a little bit problematic for that Nasus. Hopefully they can shove it all the way in for their sake, although saying that, Love Eternity going to drop that Haymaker, and now this actually is an opening for Johan to maybe turn this fight in their favour.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of hoped for Voidspike, once that ward was placed on him, to actually go towards the other bush and look to see if he could gank him there, because of the wave, right? The wave is so big, Johan was forced to walk up, or just, stay back in his turret and actually lose all of the CS. This was a prime opportunity for Voidspike to go for a gank. Does not go for it, which means Johan will actually get all of that CS, or at least get the XP, which is important enough, because once he is level 6, the dive opportunities are starting to lower rather quickly.
Legacy God, although picking up 2 kills, has dropped XP advantage a little bit and is being forced back slightly, obviously playing Twitch. Not going to have the greatest of early games, so has to still play respectfully around this bot lane, as Varus can cause big problems, especially with some of those shots that he can fire from across the map.
Yeah, what they do have is the lockup, right? So if Voidspike ever still wants to come towards that bot lane, you have the Chain of Corruption, you have the Cease and Desist, and you have the Braum auto attack. There's so much lockup here on the side of the Goat, so they can turn that around if they want to do so. But the question is, when will they, right? Dragon has come up. Voidspike is going to hopefully start pathing towards that. But right now, we see a gank in the mid lane.
Oh, there's the Maokai effect. Bearer must have been able to get the Chaos Storm down. That's a lot of damage. It should be a 1-for-1. Cassiopeia picking that one up. Howland going to be pretty happy with that kill. And to be honest with you, Maokai, the 1-for-1 trade is going to be worth as well.
Yeah, it's decent. The only downside is that Ringo actually is the one who gets that kill, so Hollowin not getting that 300 extra gold, which would have been very helpful on this Cassiopeia in the lane, whereas Burrow Mustard actually is the one who picks up that kill. At least though, the CS lead still in favor here of the Cassiopeia, so it's not all doom and gloom. It's a 1-for-1, could definitely be much worse, but I don't think the side of the Goats are too sad with that. But now we're going to see Voidspike looking towards this mid lane. I want to see him move over towards this bot lane right now, because we see there's 4 members on the side of the Pirates already kind of like looking towards this dragon, but they know they don't have to play for this. They can just wait and play until the late game. So they're just setting up some vision control. They're getting themselves that scuttle crab and just making sure that's going to be even more difficult here for the Goats to look for their own lead. It's now a top lane fight.
Big fight in the top side, right of the sands, is going to be used by Johan. Going to be able to get a lot of Qs down there. Love Eternity trading pretty evenly overall. Both ultimates expended. As now Johan going to be forced away once again. One level down, really respecting this set. And not going to go for the full commit of the trade. But as you said, bot lane is now moving up to this dragon. They're going to be able to use their advantage. And we have talked about how dangerous Legacy God can be. So shutting them down would definitely be a prominent objective for Void Spike. The only saving grace I will say is that Vi obviously really good at locking up one single target. So later on could have big moments in those fights. As Love Eternity taking so much damage from those tower shots.
Definitely doing a lot of damage, and this is rough here for the side of the Goats, right? Because now they lose the dragon, and when you are a team that kind of wants to, you know, pop off a little bit in the early game, you want to get those early dragons, or at least not give them to the opposing team. Because the Pirates, they don't have to look for all those dragons. For them, it's just kind of like an extra timer, right? They get extra 5 minutes to play this game out without having the deficit of a dragon soul. Now, however, Void Spike is towards the bot side of the map. He has to start moving over towards that top side and see if he can get Love Eternity to get priority on that wave and maybe play for the Herald here, because slowly but surely, farm-wise, the falling behind is already a 1,000 gold differential here, and Legacy God got that big wave as well. Legacy God is going to be very, very difficult to deal with if Void Spike is not going to look for something in any of the lanes. Flash coming in.
Mustard taking a lot of damage. One more could do it. Is the poison going to tick out? It does. Holloway going to be able to get the solo kill in the mid lane, finding some more success, and it is starting to heat up for Pirates here. They're finding success across multiple lanes now, and in comes Nature's Grasp from the Maokai. He's going to catch up Kija, and now they're going to be looking to turn this one around. Going to drop the Glacial Fissure. There's the spray and pray, giving that extra range. Not going to be able to get enough damage though onto either. Flashes were expended, but the bot lane are getting out safely.
And this is painful here. That mid lane solo kill was so big here for the side of Hollowin. At least Void Spike has gone towards that Herald, knowing that, of course, Ringo Starr is over towards that bot side. But having that solo kill in the mid lane is so painful for the Victor. 20 CS behind now, lost another wave of XP. And now in the top lane, once again, I think that's just going to be a trade of ultimates, perhaps. But Legacy God gets himself a nice little plate as well. Gets himself a solo wave, solo XP as well. This guy is going to be a pain. And together with Hollowin, you talked about the combination of the Twitch and the Cassiopeia. These guys are going to be very difficult to deal with in the late game, even with the lockup that the team of the Goats present.
I'm not going to lie, I feel like Love Eternity playing maybe a little bit bold there. I feel like Johan could have turned that one around. They already used the Showstopper, and Riot of Sands is still available for Johan. They could go crazy big Nasus and just win.
I think they realize that. They might be sending Ringo here towards that top side, unless he's going to go for his rep up, but he looks to be going pretty much straight towards that top lane. Does have the Nature's Grasp ready to go for a gank here if they want to. But yeah, I think he could turn around. The only thing is, right, like Johan, I don't think he has to. That's the thing, right? Like, he's completely fine. He just wants to farm up. So maybe it's, you know, not even worth going for a trade like that. Maybe just set it up for your jungler to be able to gank. But the wave is kind of in a rough position, as maybe now this time Johan is going to decide to turn around. No, he's just going to chill until maybe his health bar is that low. And that is the downside, though. If you don't pop your roll and you know, let the set poke you like that, now you might be in a troublesome situation. But jungler coming on the way does realize there is a ward, however, so it's going to back off. So let's talk a little bit about the situation here for the Ghosts, right? What do they need to do in order to win? Because at this moment, it's been just kind of a jungle difference. And of course, yes. What did I just watch? Jreal,
Okay. Bromuse Flash.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened. So that's actually really quite rough, because especially now that Void Spike is looking for a gank towards this bot lane, not having the Brom Flash ultimate combination potentially might make this a lot more difficult, but they do still have pretty easy lockup, and there's no wards here, so this could be a play here for the side of the Goats.
It could be. Legacy is trying to keep the wave as far back as possible, but I believe it is going to start to slowly push. Void Spike charging up the Vault Breaker. Not going to be able to get into range just yet. Legacy God just playing far enough back that they're not going to be caught out Season Sisto could cause big problems as right now in the top side. We are going to see Right of Sands dropped. Love Eternity going for the big hit, but now has used all of their sums, has used their spells, and it could be all Nasus. Johan just running him down, gets the bonk, and goodbye. Nasus claiming control over this lane. It's now in the bot side. Vi going to be jumping forward. Void Spike though not able to find the Twitch and goes ultimate onto the Lulu, but it does not make a difference as here comes the Twitch running through the team. Kills off the Varus, and it could be more. They're going to be moving forwards. Malco just giving them a bit of extra space, but here goes Baron Mustard. This could be big. Legacy God needs to be careful here. Malco going to claim second kill though, as Kija going to drop as well. Malco, Ringo Starr just popping off, and here comes Howlin. It's going to be a 4 for 1 over the side of the Pirates, and they are finding what they came here for. The treasure is theirs, and it looks like they could also claim that dragon.
And it is some sweet, sweet treasure, because so much gold of that went onto Legacy God. And now, you know, Victor tried to turn things around, but was kind of thinking, what target do I choose? And you kind of have to go for the Maokai because he's onto you. And then the Lulu is the only kill you get. It's the one you want the least as well. Disaster here, striking for the Goats. And it's starting to look like Goats are actually not that strong fighting on the ship, because now they're also losing that second dragon. And it could even be the Pirates looking for a potential soul play here. It's really painful right now.
What a dragon soul to get. The Inferno coming through. Ooh. Admittedly, if you are the Goats and you can start stacking these Infernos, you can really bring yourself back into this game for free. But 4k gold down. It does feel like the Pirates are very much in control. We are going to see the Rift Herald popped in the mid lane. They should be able to get a couple of plates here on to Baron Mustard, who has definitely been performing pretty well.
Yeah, he's been doing alright, and it's just been having a rough time. Yes, he got solo killed once, but he still has those 2 kills, has a decent amount of CS, got 3 plates now as well, shared with Void Spike, so will potentially get himself back into the game, right? It is a late game pick, it is that safe pick that the side of the Goats went for, so I like the fact that Void Spike decides to play around him. Now, you could argue, you could also go for Ninja Yoshi in the bot lane, Ryan, and see if you can get that Varus ahead instead. But of course, the time wasn't there for it. It's 40 minutes into the game, so they had to pop the Herald as soon as they could. So good stuff here, at least from the Goats, getting themselves some money back, but it's still a 3,000 gold deficit, and they really have no control over them. You can see the wars in the bot side of the map. They basically only warded their own jungle because they just cannot really go further. They cannot really go towards that Riven, because now even this ward is going to be removed, and they're just kind of stuck at the turrets, but they might be looking for a fight. It's a 4v2 at the moment.
It is 4v2. Malphite is pretty tanky. Here's the TP as well. We're going to make it 5v2. They've got the first, and it looks like Lulu could be the next. Flash forward from the set. They will claim that kill. But for what cost? Nass is in the top side on his own, able to farm up, could potentially even go for that tower. And yes, they claim 2 kills, but again, jungle support, it's not the carries that you need to take down.
This is the moment where I would love to see them go towards the bot lane. You got the wave. Legacy God is on his own. You have to dive him right now. You have to continue this, and you have to look for that next turret. Now, they just decided to handshake this, go back towards the mid lane, and yes, you will catch an extra wave of farming. Yes, you know, Hollowin doesn't get so much more money, but now this Nass is basically at a turret for 2 kills, and Jreal, a turret is definitely better than 2 kills, especially for a scaling team.
Especially for the scaling team, gets shared around that gold. Mikhail's now for that Lulu as well. As we can get into some of these items. First items have been brought. Any that are really standing out for you or that you want to talk about?
I don't think there's too much crazy going on here, right? I like Legacy God going for that Blade of the Rune King. That also gives him a lot of movement speed as well. And it's going to make him safe. Now he's actually going for an engage. The damage!
Oh, Kija blocking the shield there will keep his ADC alive. Beautiful counterplay goes to used by Legacy God, but forcing them out of lane could open up time for that tower to be taken by Legacy God, and once again opening up the map, giving extra gold and allowing them to move out of the bot side.
Yeah, and well, yeah, speaking of the items, right, coming back to it, I think the biggest item that we have to note on here is that Mikhail's here on the side of the Lulu. I think it makes a lot of sense, right? We know that it is all about Legacy God in this game, and especially when he's 4-0, just making sure that he does not die is your priority at this point. So that Mikhail's is going to make sure that the massive amount of lockup that the side of the Goats have, even that might not be enough to take down Legacy God together with the Lulu shields and the ultimate as well. So now they're also going to lose the Herald against the Pirates, which means that, you know, every single objective has been going towards the Pirates. So you got to think like Goats. They're going to have to find something within fights. And yes, they picked the Braum for those fights, but when the enemy team is that fed, it's going to be so difficult to find any kind of angles. And We also got to the point where Set now cannot beat the Nasus in a solo lane anymore. Nasus now pretty much 1.5 item ahead almost, because that item that he's got, the Sunderer, definitely worth more at the moment than the Blade of the Rune King that Set just got for himself. So it's looking like a lot of trouble. Could be more trouble in mid lane though.
Barrow Mustard in trouble, flashes away, but gets flashed onto Legacy God, picks up the kill, just about, almost goes down himself, but here goes Void Spike, almost gets onto Legacy God, but does not manage to get there. Hollowin was the recipient of the cease and desist, but now it's all going back around. It's going to be Keija that is caught out by the Nature's Grass, locked down and taken out. Legacy God finding another kill, and more fuel added to the fire that is the Pirates.
Yes, it is indeed. And with the dragon coming up soon, they can just decide to walk over to that dragon, get themselves on the soul point, and the goats will be in complete trouble this game. They almost found that kill on Legacy God. Legacy God going incredibly aggressive, but it was just not enough, and that shows how far ahead they are. But now maybe they can get the Nasus though.
They could maybe, although Nasus is very strong, getting a lot of health back. Love Eternity gonna have to try and slay this slow. Void Spike gonna come through with the flash there.
No.
But are they gonna be able to get this? Love Eternity solo does have the Haymaker, and Void Spike gonna finish off that kill. Nasus almost finding something back, but it's not gonna be successful.
2 shutdowns here on Voice Spike. Sadly, the member you really don't want to see them on, but at least it is kills and money on the side here for the Ghosts. But now with this dragon coming up, at least Johan is dead, so could be a potential opportunity here for the Ghosts to look for a fight. However, still, they are so far behind. You have a very strong Cassiopeia and Twitch on the opposing side. There is really no vision control apart from a pink ward in the pit. I think the side of the Pirates, they can just decide to pull this out and force the Goats to come towards them and maybe even look for a fight. But you know, they can also just take the time, wait for Johan to come back. He's making his way now. It is now or never for the Goats if they want to try and fight this.
The Goats are stepping forward, using a bit of poke to try and get themselves some positioning. They have managed to claim the dragon position, but will they be able to claim the dragon? The Nasus is coming through, as you said. No Ghosts available, though, so still a little bit of time up for them as Nature's Grass going to be used by the Malphite. Here comes the engage, and Cassiopeia able to just cause big damage onto Love Eternity. There's the Haymaker already gone. Vi going to go in, but maybe a little bit too deep. Misses, and now jumping into the back line. Does manage to get the knockup, but it's onto Nasus, and he bonks her on the head. Keija, the next to fall, will go down as opening up is the spray and pray. The Twitch goes massive, and it's going to be an ace over to the side of the Pirates. The Goats go down. They were ready for slaughter, and it's going to be another dragon added to the tally. Pirates claiming it all.
It is absolute destruction from the side of the Pirates. They get themselves another dragon. The soul point is on. It's a clean ace. There is nothing that the Goats could do, and we talked about it. They had to fight now. They had to do it now or never, but they waited way too long. They were kind of walking around the dragon. They didn't start it. They were unsure of what they wanted to do, and by that time, Johan made his way and bonked on their heads, and now this game is completely in the hands of the Pirates.
It is indeed in their hands. It is their game to lose, but it feels like it's going to be very, very difficult for the Goats to get back into this one. They are down 9,000 gold, a load of kills, 3 dragons as well, 1 dragon away from Infernal Soul, and 20 minutes in, surely Baron is on the cards for the Pirates.
Oh yes, it is 100%. And take a look at the items for a moment. Though. Just look at Legacy God. He got 3 items, and when we look at Ninja Yoshi, not even a single item finished, Jreal. The difference is huge. Like, this Twitch is basically 10 times this Varus right now. It is unbelievable, the difference between these AD carries. And we talked about it before, how Legacy God was going to be the man to play around. And my lord, are the Pirates playing around him perfectly.
Look at the gold difference as well. Up 3k on anyone in the Goats' team, not just the Varus. And they are able to keep themselves very much far ahead. They haven't started this Baron just yet. They're kind of baiting in the Goats, looking for them to just overstep and overcheck. As they do know the victor is on that bot side as well. So it should be a 4 versus 4 here. And Legacy looking for this. Not going to be able to get it. Camouflage is going to time out. But it doesn't stop them from just going for this Baron. I feel like they're holding them here. Nasus is just stacking in the bot side. If we can get a stack check on that Nasus as well, that would be great. But it just feels like all in all, they can keep this timer going. The Pirates don't need to rush this at any point. And slowly but surely, they will find that opening.
Yeah, exactly as you say. And the worst part is, the Goats have to make a decision here, right? Like, they're either going to fight, which most likely they're not going to win. Or they're going to just send their laners towards the side lanes and try and farm up. But that does mean they have to give away a free Baron. So they are basically stuck right now. They're kind of in a prison. And they have no choice but to follow whatever the Pirates are going to do. So the Pirates decide, okay, we're just going to farm up. We're going to send our solo laners and Legacy God towards the side lanes and just, basically handshake, which is completely fine because they are the scaling team. Nasus will be scaling to infinity like we saw in the last game as well. He's doing this again, got one full item up over his opponent. So they're going to have to send at least maybe 2, even 3 people to try and stop him. So now, because the Nasus is pushing up towards that bot lane, they got that pressure. The Baron has been started. Goats, they could look for this fight, but I don't know if they can actually win it. They're going to have to catch out Legacy God somehow. The teleport's already coming in.
Ooh, TP going to be coming through. Johan going to be making his way as Void Fight goes into the pit. Going to fight off with the Maokai. Love Eternity going into the backline looking for the Cassiopeia. Has managed to find it, but here comes Legacy God from the back of the other side. Kija going to be able to stop some of those bullets, but they're spraying through. He's going to get 2. He's going to get 3. He's going to get 4. Will he get the pentakill? It's not going to be so because Nasus took one of the kills, but an ace again for the Pirates. They have found more and more success. It is just snowballing down this hill, and they claim Baron as well. 5-1 is the score, and they're going to start knocking on the door of that Nexus.
They went for the engage on Hollowin, trying to get him to the backline, maybe looking for like this big set play, and it was big. It was great, and it looked really good at the start. They got the Chaos Storm on it as well, but then they completely forgot that there was, at that point, a 9-0 legendary Twitch on your backline. And yes, we talked about how the Braum was able to protect him at least, but it's just, when you're 13-0, it does not matter anymore. This guy is so incredibly strong. There is not enough lockup for any of these people. Complete destruction once again by the Pirates. They are in prime position to walk away with this game. 12,000 gold difference. The last dragon is about to be up very soon. That is going to be the soul. This is going to be the last stand for the Ghost, Jreal.
And it's interesting to see how the Pirates play this, right? Do they close out the game soon? Are they able to really eke out their victory? Because they're so far ahead right now, they can clearly win these team fights. But can they close out the game in fast tempo? Or are we going to be seeing them kind of moving around, having to get another Baron and all of the above? So we'll have to see how they do decide to play this one out. It does look like Legacy is going to keep pushing that wave in mid. Does have to be a bit careful though. Twitch, although ahead, definitely not the one to be on their own, as we have got a pause on the stream. And I'm hoping that doesn't mean that the game is over. But we are going to see what happens with production there. But the Dragon is up soon. And how would you want them to play this? Would you want them to push the waves in, get towers, and then go back for the Dragon, or play with Prio on the Drake?
When you decide of the Pirates, you always play for Prio of the Drake, because this Drake basically means you 100% win the game, right? They're already in a pretty good position to completely win this game. As we bring it back to our faces for a moment here, as we wait for the game to continue. We actually are back in, so we're going to see how the Pirates are going to be able to set this up. You can see they just send every single member, apart from, of course, Hollowin, because he does have to teleport, so it doesn't need to be here right now. They just send everyone in towards this Dragon, even get some deep vision in the jungle. And, with Hollowin pushing over there, maybe they can make a play on him, but I don't know if that's going to be enough damage here for the side of set. Maybe he can find it.
Ooh, manages to get the stun onto the set. Trying to get away, does have the damage and is able to stay alive. Hollowin almost winning that trade. There is the Infernal Drake. They sent 4 up onto the top side, so Hollowin doing the distraction job perfectly and able to get themselves out safely as well. Petrifying Gaze, maybe a little bit late there. Could have potentially stopped him from getting tossed about by the set, but all in all, pretty good play. And now we'll see how the Pirates manage to close this one out.
Yeah, I mean, you trade the Dragon Soul for a flash on Hollowin, so I'd call worth if you're the GOAT. Maybe, kind of copium at the moment. But right now they're just pushing towards this bot lane as well. They're going to be looking for the next turret as well. Likely going to be switching over towards that mid lane, like how they're sending Hollowin towards that mid lane to get that wave pushed in as well. But no, they decide to just play it slow, and fair play to them, right? There's no reason to really go on, except Johan. He's just like, "Hi guys, I kind of wanted a bit of blood."
Is this going to be the 1v4 Nasus moment? Because they're flashing forwards for him. They're going to be going aggressive. There's the 1v5. Gets knocked up by the Cease and Desist. Gets bounced around. Not going to be able to get a kill. Will go down. And we'll see if that affects how the Pirates are able to play this one. Because now we're in a moment where the Pirates have all the advantages that they could get in this game.
Yes.
Can they close out the game smoothly? Because if they don't, there is a world where the GOATs could come back into it, even though it is probably about 15 minutes away.
Yeah, it's pretty much near impossible, but getting that kill is actually quite big for them because this means that the Baron is gone on Nasa, so his split push is going to be severely weakened. And they're kind of forced to maybe go for a 4-1 play instead of 1-3-1 here for the side of the Pirates, but we'll see what they're going to do. They're looking to just still push because they know how far ahead they are. They don't necessarily need Johan, but it is a small opening potentially for the Goats to win, and you can see how the Pirates are kind of backing off. They're unsure about playing this, so the Goats are getting some farm back. They're getting a bit of a breathing room right now to get back into this game, but the Nats is already back up, so the onslaught is just on their doorstep once again.
And Twitch just farming up a storm, man. Just keeping the farm going. 4 items now. IH completed. Only 1 more left to gain before they are full power. And I feel like we're just biding our time. We're just having that bit of a lull. Say no objectives on the board. They're just waiting it out, waiting for the actual play, something to really fight around. And then we're going to be able to get back onto this game. But CS per minute coming up. Obviously 10 is what everyone aims for. Some pretty high markers for some of these teams.
Yeah, looking pretty good here for Legacy God and Hollowin. Of course, it makes it a lot easier once you get to free farm those silence, especially for the likes of Hollowin, right? But yeah, look, they can't even answer this top lane push. So another free second-tier turret. That's a lot of gold once they get into the bags of the Pirates. And we know how much Pirates love their gold. And it looks like they're just kind of trying to play this game slow. They really want to get every single piece of gold that they can on the map right now. Because they've barely used this Baron, right? They got... well, maybe 2 turrets out of it. They pushed 1 towards the bot lane and now got a solo turret here in towards this top lane, but not really like a big Baron usage for a team that is 14,000 gold almost ahead. So I can commend it, you know, playing it slow because they have the scaling on their side. They already got the Dragon Soul. It is likely going to be an angle where they're just going to maybe even play for the Elder Drake and just try to end the game with a big old fight.
Yeah, indeed. But Elder Drake does bring alive the potential for flips, because if you lose the Elder Drake fight, well, things can get a little bit heated for you. So we'll have to see if the Ghosts can actually mount themselves a comeback. Will they be able to see any success in these later fights? We'll have to find out. But Baron is going to be spawning pretty soon, so their eyes are going to be all centered on that one. I think a second Baron over to the Pirates could close out the game very quickly.
Yeah, that is definitely going to look to do it. I mean, at least then they can, you know, they've got both teleports up, so they can just send Cassiopeia to the top lane, send Nasus to the bot lane, play a nice 1-3-1. They need to send 2 to stop either one of them. So it just brings them in a prime position to completely dumpster every single lane. As now, they might just be looking for a catch here. I honestly think when you are playing as the Goats right now, you don't even try and go for this. You get as much farm as you can. You try and go for one big fight with as much of the CS and as much of the money that you can possibly gather from whatever there is to take. Because look at the vision control in the enemy jungle here. This Baron just gets absolutely destroyed. And now it is time for the Pirates to look for the final bounty.
3 players hitting 16 in unison. That's kind of poetic for the Pirates there. As they are going to start moving down the mid lane. Legacy God just hiding, looking for someone to find, to go overstep, and then get absolutely bounced on. As right now, they are going to just go for a further push here. We are going to see the Gravity Well just slow this down a little bit, but the Baron Empowered minions are going to do what they need to do. Johan as well, stepping up, looking for that tower shot. Not going to go for it just yet. Victor just doing his best at wave clearing. They could potentially play around multiple waves here, but they're going to keep going down one lane. They're going to ARAM this one to potential victory. As we are going to actually see Hollowin slightly moving across the Legacy God's going to step forward, looking for the kill onto Baron Mustard. Not popping the ult just yet. Gets a bit of damage down, and now going to drop that ult. He's waiting for the Brom Shield to drop. He's got one. He's looking for more. Brom going to hold him back though with the Glacial Fissure, and now Love Eternity going to be able to get into range. That's another damage. They've taken him down. They found the kill onto the Twitch. Can they find more? Legacy God is going to go down, and they managed to pick up another Love Eternity, though not going to be able to find more than one, as Johan is now just smashing down onto this inhib. They take one. They're going to be able to take 2, as Cassiopeia also opening up the base. Can they end the game here? Varus is standing. So is this Victor. A lot of wave clear potential for their team is still alive.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. They got the wave clear users alive, so it actually looks like they're going to just stop this push. They have managed to still somehow stay in this game. They killed the unkillable Legacy God, and now the Elder Dragon is coming up. Can they potentially use this small bit of time where Legacy God is dead to get some kind of vision on towards this Elder Dragon to really try and look for that magical flip play? Because that has to be the only way for the Ghost to come back now.
They are starting to run towards it. They're going to be careful of those wards, though. TP could be coming through from the Nasus, but it does look like Johan is just going to keep playing for the team. Going to go for the Elder Drake, as the teams are slowly but moving towards this Elder Drake. Last fight, last chance to loon potentially for both of these teams here. Although I will say, if you are the Pirates, you could lose this fight. Like, you're not going to lose all three like, what is it, 7 towers that you'd have to take in a row to end the game if you're the GOATs.
Yes, but it is an opportunity to get back into the game, right? So you obviously don't want to lose this, but Voice Spike, can he look for the opportunity? There's no vision at the moment on the Elder Dragon for the side of the GOAT, so you can see how they're trying to pull the Dragon out. Dragon is being reset a little bit. This could be an angle here. They're taking it very, very slowly. The fight is on the cusp. When is it going to pop off, though? Teleport! Oh, just go for the end!
Double TP going to be going for the end. They're looking to go for this win. They've gone for the recalls. They've stopped recalls from going back. One might be able to get there, but no! It's the mouse that's going to be blocked. The TP from Set gets denied as well. They're not able to get into base, and it's going to be a backdoor to win this game. I don't even think the Pirates needed to do that, but for dramatic effect, that's how they end this one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a great tactic to do it right. Why would you go for the flip? Why would you go for the great fight? Just send your top laner and send your mid laner over with the teleports that you have been keeping for like the last 10 minutes and just boom down on the base. Brilliant stuff here from the Pirates. And just like we watched the Pit Ponies last time, they are looking to be a force to be reckoned with today.
No, indeed. Shout out to Legacy God, obviously living up to the hype. And is Nasus just broken or something? Like,
you know what it is?
What's going on with Nasus just winning?
We're seeing him being like blind picked as well. I mean, we didn't even know where the set was going. Well, I mean, the last time, you got the Cho'Gath early pick, but I don't think, can still go towards the mid lane, can go to the support even potentially. Shout out to Gizmo. But yeah, no, Nasus has been popping off today. This, if this is going to be how all the games are going to be looking, I wonder if we're going to see like some counterpicks to Nasus, because there's one classic counterpick to Nasus. You know what I'm going to say? Will it happen? It won't, but I would love to see some of him, but we're not going to see it. But either way, yeah, Nasus is definitely the name of the champion today. Because my man just completely blew up 2 enemy teams.
No, indeed, Nasus seems pretty strong, right? Like that's it's so far been pretty good, and the Pirates are able to use it to good effect. And also, obviously, the Twitch they're coming in pretty clutch, some nice team fights, and both teams looking like they had some strength there. I think if Pirates hadn't managed to get so far ahead, then there definitely was some potential coming out from the GOATs to potentially claw that one back into their favor. But that is going to be it from our stream. We've had the 2 games. We saw the Robins taking on the Pit Ponies in the first game. The Pit Ponies are going to be able to come away with their first win. On the second game, we had the Pirates versus the GOATs, and the GOATs unfortunately weren't able to make their win. The Pirates taking home that one, getting one step closer to their ultimate treasure. Will they be able to make it? As Toki, where have you gone, Toki?
Of course the Pirates are going to win. There's no way they would lose.
I had to bring that one out, for the fans.
No, it's got to be, it's got to be. You got to keep the Pirates alive. And I have to say, shout, that was our week 1 for the Welsh Esports League, sponsored and brought to you by the Apprenticeships Wales. So shout out to them. And obviously, let's give a few shout outs before we go. Obviously, shout out to all the players that played today, putting on such good performance. Shout out to you guys in chat as well, because without you guys, there would be no point in us streaming. Shout out to you, Toki, for your first colour cast. Hope you had a good time. And shout out to you, Gizmo, as well, for being on production. Toki, any final moments before we close out the stream?
Yes, shout out to, of course, Mr. Jreal, who carried me through my first ever colour cast. So thank you so much for that as well, my friend. But yeah, apart from that, great games today. Hopefully, we're going to have more games, of course, next week. 3 weeks of games, so nothing to be looking back at. We're just going to have a good time. But for now, Jreal, please do take us away, my friend.
Indeed, as Toki said, more weeks of games. Be back next week to catch some more good team play coming out from this league. But for now, we're going to say good night.